President Trump now.
Hello Long Beach, and welcome to Long Beach Local News. I'm Franklin Sims, and you're tuned in to our special live broadcast of The Memo. $2.5 million story coming out of City Hall this week is the Queen Mary. Aside from the nearly $300 million in repairs the Queen needs just to stay afloat, City Council voted Tuesday to pay Evolution Hospitality $2 million to act as a caretaker for the ship for the next 6 months. It's important to note that the Queen Mary remains closed due to dangerous safety concerns, and there is no immediate plan to reopen her. For the next 6 months, Long Beach taxpayers will fork over more than $11,000 a day for Evolution Hospitality to take care of a ship that's closed and potentially sinking. Here's the thing. The Queen Mary is to Long Beach what the Golden Arches are to McDonald's. She's our signature. For better or worse, the Queen Mary is our city's logo. She's our Golden Arches. But because of a bad choice by city staff and city council, because our city auditor didn't do her job for years, the Queen Mary is, for the second time since arriving in Long Beach from Scotland, sitting in yet another bankruptcy proceeding. Now, news outlets throughout the state and country are all reporting on this story. Why? Because it's embarrassing. So, last week on Friday, our city chief of PR sent out a press release. The subject of the press release read, "City of Long Beach regains control of the Queen Mary for the first time in 40 years. That's what it said. Now, there are some news publications that ran with that spoon-fed spin just as it was delivered. They just parroted it line for line. We're not going to do that. We can't, because it's simply not true. Look, you folks at home, you're smart. So let's think about this, all right? Let's do this together. We're going to walk the line. The Queen Mary was leased for 60 years to the now bankrupt Urban Commons. Now, if Urban Commons had a lease, then that makes Urban Commons a tenant, right? Now, over 60% of Long Beach residents are actually tenants. And that's an important figure because it suggests that the bulk of Long Beach knows that every tenant has a landlord from personal experience. And every tenant knows that it's the landlord and not the tenant that has control over the property. They call the shots. Have you ever heard of a tenant lord? No, you haven't, because they don't exist. There are landlords and there are tenants. The landlord sets the rates, the terms, the rules, how many guests you can have, how long they can stay, right? What time you can use the pool and what time you've got to get out of the jacuzzi. And that's the way of the world. Why? Because when things go wrong, it's the landlord that's going to be held accountable, feet to the fire. So when the mayor is quoted as saying this, literally says, "We will be fully engaged in the preservation of this historic landmark and are incredibly grateful for this opportunity." When the mayor says that, let's be honest. No one in their right mind is incredibly grateful to have control over a huge ship in need of almost $300 million of repairs. That's sort of like being grateful for a lemon brought on a used car lot. And let's not spin this as a great opportunity either. The truth is that they tried to put the lease, control over the Queen Mary, on the auction block, literally. Going once, going twice. No one wanted her. Why? Because Long Beach did such a bad job at maintaining and owning her that now she's a liability and not an opportunity. But let's go back to that quote, because maybe the mayor does feel incredibly grateful, right? Maybe he does see this as a glass half full opportunity. But those are emotions. And don't get me wrong, he's entitled to his feelings. But what the mayor is not entitled to are his own set of facts. It's on those facts that it's the press's job, the free press, to hold our electeds accountable. The first sentence of the mayor's statement isn't factual, it's plainly misleading. He says, for the first time in decades, Long Beach has full control over the Queen Mary. When the mayor says that, the entire city, in unison, ought to stand up and say, huh? Yeah, accountability red flags should be waving when we hear from our mayor that for the first time in decades, Long Beach has full control over the Queen Mary. If Long Beach hasn't had control over the Queen Mary for decades, then who the heck did? You're telling me that for over 40 years, our city has allowed tenants to control the Queen Mary, to dictate the terms, the rates, the rules, tell us when to get out of the jacuzzi? No, that's not the way of the world. The landlord doesn't get to dodge accountability and blame the tenants who don't set the rules, were not duly elected, have not been sworn into office, and aren't accountable to the public. No. Let me show you an exhaustive list of the Queen Mary's tenants over the last 50 years, the 40 years that the city hasn't been responsible. I want you to look at this list. As you can see, the tenants change. They've changed a lot. They changed like clockwork. But the ownership since 1971 to 2021 has been in the same hands. Long Beach City. The bottom line is this. The tenants aren't on the hook for sinking the ship. Let me say it again. The tenants aren't on the hook for sinking the ship. The politicians don't get to shift blame onto the tenants that were given $23 million of your hard-earned money that the city auditor now can't find, although she was asked to perform an audit years ago and wouldn't do it. We simply cannot, in good conscience, blame the tenants for any of that. It's your money. It's your city. The mayor, the city council people, the city manager, the city auditor, they work for you. They work for you. And that should mean something. The press release says that for more than 40 years, the landlord was not fully engaged. The politicians you empowered to captain the ship were not fully engaged for more than 40 years. The press release says that they haven't been fully engaged for decades. It says it right here. Right here. And let's not even talk about the role of mainstream media here in Long Beach. Your own trusted news sources, not us, but your own trusted news sources fed this press release and spin to you as if after 40 years of neglect, 2 bankruptcies, and nearly $300 million in urgent repairs needed, you should now feel relieved and grateful for the opportunity. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Our mayor, who's been in office for nearly 8 years, is effectively saying, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. This is a 40-year-old problem that I inherited. Forget the fact that the lease with Urban Commons was entered into 2 years into Mayor Garcia's first term. Oh no, not his fault. It's been out of my control for 40 years. Forget about the fact that in the mayor's first term, he championed writing a $23.3 million blank check to Urban Commons that only one single person on council stood up against. But oh no, keep it moving. Nothing to see here, people. Oh, never mind that the $23 million loan was secured based on police and fire and parks and rec programs. And now the one company that was supposed to pay that money back doesn't have to, because you guessed it, they're bankrupt. But you know what? We're only the 7th largest city in California. Who needs enough police or fire engines or parks programs? How about we do? It's your money. It's your city. The mayor, the council people, the city manager, the city auditor, they all work for you. They work for you. And that ought to mean something. This is Franklin Sims, reporting for The Memo, here at Long Beach Local News, reporting truth to power. Hello, Long Beach. Do you have a business or service you'd like more locals to know about? According to social media algorithms, The Memo is among the most viewed video news sources in all of Long Beach. That's something we're proud of, but the fact is, Long Beach Local News has built the strongest social media following among any news outlet in the city. We're reaching thousands of viewers because we love this city and we tell you the truth. The Memo has the audience and we're affordable. So let's make an incredible ad together and grow a stronger, better local business scene right here at home in Long Beach, right here with Long Beach Local News. As always, this is Franklin Sims, reporting truth to power.
Now.